Howdy, howdy everyone. This is Wiley, and this commentary will be about an event that I attended with a couple of friends. Said event was the Red Bull Battlegrounds, which was a StarCraft 2 tournament for professionals. I'm definitely not good enough to play StarCraft competitively. This was a pro event, and I went with some buddies and we watched the pros play, and it was very entertaining. So, about the event, where was it? Where was it held? You're probably wondering those things. Well, here are the answers. The event was held in Austin, Texas, and I live in Texas, most of you will know. We drove down there, and the event was a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. And during the event, we went and we got out of the car, and you could just tell there was an air around the stadium. You could tell that the people entering the event were gamers. There were several Zerg shirts, and that kind of got me happy. Walking in, I was starting to get entertained just by the fact that people were wearing cool shirts, similar to the feeling that you get when you're about to go to a concert and you're giving the person your ticket and walking into the event. You're being surrounded by like-minded people. So we get into the event, we wait about 30 minutes, and they start to introduce the players. And what excited me a lot was the fact that Day9 and Husky were like so close. It was like so many people that you've watched on the internet for a very long time, you were like that close to. That was really cool. Just the fact it was like a big fanboy moment, the fact that you were that close to all those people. So once they start to introduce the players, I just started to get chills. That they started to introduce the players, and they did like Stefano first, and Stefano walked like right by Cliff and I's seats. Cliff the Pro, as most of you will know, he walked right by our seats, and that was amazing. I started to get goosebumps like a little fanboy. Then they introduced about half of the other players, and then they introduced Huck, and the way they had it was they would like Day9 would do like an intro, and they had like a little video of them like posing with their arms crossed, and in Huck's intro video he'd made like a heart with his fingers, and for those of you that do know what that's referencing, he'll often draw like hearts on the map with his hero probes, and that's just Huck, and that was hilarious to me. So they introduced all the players, and then Day9 and Husky were like, okay, let's get this started. And here's the player list for those of you that are wondering. It's Gosu Estoji, Last Shadow, uh, Last Shadow, Complexity Gonzi, Liquid Chef, Quantic Illusion, E.G. Thorzane, Liquid Ret, E.G. Huck, Empire Violet, Startail Parting, Liquid Tasia, Quantic Sauce, Startail Squirtle, Millennium Stefano, Startail Bomber, and SKMC. So it was definitely quite the star-studded lineup. So they start the first group. It's Group A. I believe that one has Gonzi, Stefano, Violet, and Illusion. And Illusion became a crowd favorite. He crushed Gonzi, made him look silly, lost to Stefano, and then had a game 3 final. Stefano at this point had already clinched. It was between Violet and Illusion of who were going to win the finals, or win the last spot of Group A, excuse me. And Violet and Illusion had a great series, and Illusion barely got nudged out. And you could tell the crowd was really starting to get behind Illusion, and I was kind of split of how I felt about it, because I wanted two Zergs to move on, but I also wanted Illusion to move on. So it was Stefano and Illusion out of Group A. And then Sase and Tasia, Thorzane and Sheth were in Group B. Thorzane and Sheth had like a 50-minute game that Thorzane won. That was entertaining. But Sase and Tasia moved on from that group. And then this is when some bad things started to happen. In between every game, they would take like 15-minute intermissions while the players would get set up. And by Group C, they had started to get insanely behind schedule, like 2 hours. So they just skipped Group C. They didn't even show it at the tournament, which in my opinion was the best group. It had Bomber, MC, Huck, and a Stogie. But Bomber, MC, and Huck are all great players, and I really wanted to see Huck. And they just decided that they were going to do those games in the back room and just not. They were like you could tune into a stream, but obviously if you were at the event, you wanted to see them. So instead of showing us those games, they showed us Group D games, which were Squirtle, Parting, Rhett, and Last Shadow. And the thing about the Group D games was Last Shadow is jokishly bad. He had no right being there. Rhett apparently just doesn't practice, and it showed. He got beat pretty bad. And Squirtle and Parting moved on, who were just two Korean Protoss who, like, you knew they were going to move on. But we missed a Bomber, MC, Huck, and a Stogie group, which I was really disappointed about. And then in day two, the production quality increased tenfold. They were actually on schedule. It was just great. Day two was a playoff. In the first round of the playoff, you had Stefano and Parting meet. Stefano won that 2-0. That was a very good series. Stefano just steamrolled Parting, who's a very strong Protoss. In the second bracket, you had Sauce and MC. MC beat Sauce in PvP. So the semifinals was Stefano and MC. And then in the quarterfinals, you had Bomber and Tasia, Bomber taking it 2-1. Then in the other quarterfinals, you had Squirtle and Violet, Squirtle 2-0ing Violet, which was surprising. And then in the semis, you had Stefano and MC playing, which turned out to be, in my opinion, the best series out of the whole tournament. Stefano on Daybreak did his usual 3-minute roach max out style. Stefano used exceptional microing and split Stefano's roaches enough where Stefano lost. You could tell Stefano really thought he had that game. And then in the other semifinals, Bomber 3-0'd Squirtle. There were a few backstories to this. Bomber had been slumping, so to see him in the championship was a shock. And then in the third place match, Stefano 3-1 Squirtle, and it really was 4-1 because Stefano got disconnected when he was absurdly ahead. He was just about to run over Squirtle with a bunch of roaches, and he got disconnected due to a critical error. So in the final, you had MC and Bomber. This was a very entertaining final because it was back and forth. Bomber took the first game, very straight up macro. Then Bomber attempted a bunker rush in game 2, which failed. And the series just was back and forth, until finally MC won it. There was like a failed 7-gate all-in, and there was like a successful 7-gate all-in. And MC ended up taking the best of 7 in 6 games. And after MC took it, I mean, not even after, but just all throughout the tournament, there were a series of interviews that were very fun to watch. One of them, MC stated, after Day 9 asked MC who he thought was going to win, MC was just like, me, because I am Boss Toss. And of course, there was an uproar in the crowd. MC, big fan favorite. But after that, MC won. I got to high five Day 9, got to high five Husky. It was a great event. I wish they hadn't have gotten behind on day 1. That was really my only complaint. I was very entertained. I got an autograph. Yes, an autograph. I got my shirt autographed from Squirtle, Stefano, who I was so pumped to see, Parting, and Liquid Chef, the Manor Bear. Riley hated Sheth. He was another friend that went with me. He hated Sheth, and then about halfway through the tournament decided he loved him. And a lot of fans were disappointed to see Illusion go, but I'm going to tell a quick little story about how I saw Stefano. The bathrooms were right next to the backstage, and after Stefano lost his that really tough series to MC that lasted the whole 5 games, he of course had to depart and leave the venue. So as he was leaving the venue, or he was actually going to the bar, but it looked like he was leaving the venue, everyone else was like, "Oh my God, Stefano," and kind of hung out in the back. And none of my friends were with me because I just went to the bathroom. So it was just me, and I like approached him and said, "Hey, Stefano," and he said, "Hey," and then I got a Sharpie out and said, "Can you sign my shirt?" And he's like, "Sure." So I bent my back over, and he got the Sharpie out and signed it. And then I said, "I really enjoyed your play," and got to shake Stefano's hand. That was cool. And then I just approached the others. The Koreans, of course, didn't speak any English, and Sheth didn't say much. So that was my experience with the Red Bull Battlegrounds. It was very fun. Uh, the casters were great, even though DJ Wheat was sick and his voice was kind of annoying. And I will post a picture of the shirt that I got signed at the end of this video. And you saw me using Blast Shield at some point. No, it's not any good. It's just as bad as it always was. Alright, that was Phil Steppen. I am Phil Steppen, rather, and I'm out.